Welcome to GCCars. My name is Eric and today we get the 2021 Mercedes-Benz GLA 250. And I told you we get some cool cars coming, so thanks for everybody for the support, for all the subscribers that make this channel grow so quick. We already got our first luxury brand with Mercedes coming, and yeah, we get some cool cars coming in the future too. Anyhow, GLA 250, obviously the entry-level SUV in the Mercedes-Benz lineup. But before we get into all the details and the interior, you know me, I want to do the fun stuff right up first. So what do we got in here? 2-liter inline 4 turbos. We have 221 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, combined with what made it to a dual clutch transmission. So let's do a little 0 to 60 run. Why don't we do that? Well, I'll give you the numbers in kilometers an hour just so you know. And before we do that, also yeah, the indicator noise is a bit annoying in this, I think. Just a side note. Anyhow, let's turn on this road right here. We put her into sport. I always go in the wrong direction, so let's put her into sport. You can already hear it downshifting. And then we want to go into settings to turn off ESP. We have to go through the infotainment for that. ESP, and with that, traction control is off. And go back, info, engine, perfect. So let's line her up right here. Okay, I'm gonna let it shift by itself. Not gonna do much there. It's gonna try to, start, stop, off, and let's brake torque. 2,200. 50, 60, 70, 80, not 80, not 80, not 80 plus a bit. So plenty quick. This even this base model is plenty quick. I mean, this is really the base model of the base model, right? Let's shift manually here for a second. This is not GLA. This is not a GLA 35 or 45 AMG. This is already plenty of quick. We might hopefully get some seat time in one of these AMGs because that must be pretty quick. Car and driver estimates 5.8 seconds to 60 miles an hour, so that's 98 kilometers an hour. And honestly, that feels about appropriate. But like I said, we have a dual clutch. We can shift ourselves, so why don't we downshift? Very quick shifts, very quick responses. True dual clutch, unlike the Kia we just drove last week. I know this is a different vehicle, but the Kia also has a dual clutch, and it's a good transmission. Don't get me wrong, I liked it. It just this kind of has the speed that you expect with a dual clutch, like the speed and shifting and all that, and it drives really nicely. Let's go back into comfort for a few seconds before we go back. Also, there's an eco mode and an off-road mode and individual if you want to like do your own combination. There's really not much that really changes with all these modes. It's mainly like some electronics, and the biggest thing is how the transmission reacts, how quick it shifts, like how early it shifts and all that. Well, how early it shifts. So there's no suspension adjustments in this GLA or anything, so it's really just more minor stuff. But I've mostly driven it in pretty much all the time. I was in comfort until I wanted to floor it or go fast around corners. Then I took it into sport mode. Other than that, yeah, really nice. But there's a corner up front, and I want to talk. Let's do it right back into sport mode. I'm not gonna let it rest even a second here, because this thing is surprisingly sporty. I was very surprised by how sporty it is. Let's just make sure this is all clear. And it handles pretty well. It handles pretty well. Very surprised by that. I came into this and not really expecting a sporty car, but it is really well settled and drives well. If you go to the limit, because this is front bias all-wheel drive system, it starts understeering at some point, but it's a gradual understeer that it's not suddenly understeering. You feel it coming, and you can really work against that pretty easily. So it drives like the dynamics, for considering this is not an AMG. Really good, honestly. I was pleasantly surprised by that. But before we talk about suspension and all the good stuff, why don't we take a quick look at the exterior? Okay, let's take a brief look at the exterior here of the GLA 250, and I gotta mention, this one has packages. Base model looks different, especially this bumper here. That's the AMG bumper included in the sport package. So that'll look a bit different. If you go for the AMGs, the GL35, GLA 35 and GLA 45, you'd also have the Panamericana grille, which we don't have right here. But in general, I think it looks pretty decent. The front can look a little droopy from certain angles, I'll be honest. That had to grow a bit on me, but I think it's funny that our wheels say AMG because we got the AMG wheels, but it's obviously not an AMG. It's like literally the base model Mercedes. Still, the side angle looks pretty good. I like the trim around the windows, just adds nice accent and works well, especially with the door handles, also chrome. And the rear is probably my favorite angle, and it's just really nice curves. We have some nice taillights on here, and then surprisingly aggressive free diffuser. Overall, I think it's a pretty good design. Maybe only the front could use a little bit of improvement, but hey, I'm just a guy showing it to you. You gotta decide if you like it or not, if you want to buy it. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Anyhow, let's go back to the review. I hope you enjoyed the look at the exterior of this SUV. But I wanted to quickly talk about one thing, and that is the throttle mapping, because Mercedes-Benz has done a really good job at like calibrating the throttle inputs and the brake inputs, because it's so easy to drive this GLA smoothly. A lot of cars that I've driven recently are kind of jerky at the beginning. It's not, you want to get like, especially from a stop, you want to just smoothly get going from a stoplight or anything and get on it, and then suddenly gives you a lot of power and then gives you less, and you're just kind of like, ah. But this one is so easy to drive smoothly. I really enjoyed that. Made it a lot nicer to drive, and it's just, you know, sometimes it's in the details, and that is one of the details that really make this a more pleasant ride. Speaking about pleasant ride, it's not as pleasant as I expected it to be. Like, the suspension is not bad by any means, but it's also not what I expected when I saw the Mercedes-Benz logo, the star, and it was like, okay, this is a Mercedes, right? It's going to probably ride nicer than a Buick Encore. I didn't even say, no, cancel.
What would you like to do?
I just said your name. I didn't say, hey, cancel.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
Cancel. We'll get to you later. I didn't want to talk about you yet. What I wanted to say, right, the suspension. So the suspension, like I said, it's not bad, but especially like harsher, smaller bumps, so like imperfections on the road, like potholes, really don't get absorbed that well. You really do feel them a lot, especially on roads that are kind of in bad condition. On roads that are in bad condition, you really do feel a lot of vibrations, and it's just not that pleasant. Not what I expected for the amount of money we pay for this car, this GLA here. Speaking about, while we're at it, let's get another negative right out of the way, and that is the noise. It's quite noisy in this cabin, especially road noise. Isn't really well isolated whatsoever. I know it was a different kind of vehicle, the Sorento we had last week, but it was 10 grand Canadian less than this GLA, and it was so well isolated and nice and quiet in that vehicle, compared to this GLA here, which just is a little noisy. Like I said, just like with the suspension, it's really not a game breaker or anything that is too annoying. It's just, I expected a little more considering what kind of vehicle we're in and the amount of money you pay for this. But let's get back to the good stuff. And for that, we're going to swing it over to the interior. Okay, let's talk GLA interior. First of all, whoever spec'd this, really good job. This is honestly the perfect spec. This is exactly how I would spec it. So we got our black and gray. Officially it's gray, but that is not gray. That is definitely white. Our black and gray interior. And for our trim, we have our black open pore wood. Perfect spec. Great job. Moving on. While we're talking about the trim, the open pore wood feels great, looks great, and while you see this here, we got our lighting. Obviously, the lighting is phenomenal in this Mercedes. Mercedes really knows how to do interior lighting. We got our strips literally everywhere, in the vents, beneath the seats for our like back passengers, by the paddles, got them by the trim, along the center console, along the top there. It's everywhere. It looks fantastic, and I really highly suggest you checking out my night POV if you want to see how it looks at night. It's so good. But let's move on real quick. Materials wise, really nice. We have pretty much no plastic here, just where the controls are, which is understandable. Leather feels nice, looks good. Let's talk screens. These are the 10.3 inch screens you get with a package. Normally you have 7.7 inch screens here, and I'll be honest, I've looked at the pictures and they are pathetic. Like absolutely pathetic. There's no other word for that. These 10.3 inch screens, great glass, great colors, great black levels. I can't talk. Look great. I like them. But even these upgraded screens, I think that's like an inch and a half almost side bezels, and top and bottom is another 3/4 inch. It's just, these bezels are big, I'll be honest, and I kind of expected a little more. And in general, the trend with these screens, I know it's a trend and some people like it, some don't. I'm not a fan of it because honestly, it looks like Hans at the factory in Germany kind of forgot to put the proper gauge cluster in, and then Friedrich came by and was like, oh, worry not, Hans, I have iPads and super glue, and just put it on there. It's like, that is wonderful. And yeah, I mean, they look great. They display so much information. Honestly, it's even as a tech-savvy Gen Z, it took me a while to get used to the MBUX, which is a great system. So many features, but it's just a lot to take in. Of course, if you own the car, you'll get used to it, no problem whatsoever. But yeah, that was just, I don't know. You decide if you like the screens. They work well, though. One last thing. Well, actually, we got our split center console, which is kind of nice. But one last thing, the controls. A lot of people complain in articles and in other videos about this touchpad. I don't know why. It's good. Honestly, I really like it. You can use it as a touchscreen, your screen, which is nice, but only the right screen, not the left screen. I've tapped things there and it didn't work because it's like, why is that? Anyhow, it makes sense so you don't grab through the steering wheel if I'm standing. Anyhow, I'm ranting. What I want to say, the touchpad works really well. I like it. You can vary how far you swipe just by adjusting how you swipe. So a long swipe brings you all the way to the other side. A very short, regular swipe brings you one to the side. So it just swaps over. You can do pretty much everything in between. So you can do 4, you can do 3, or stuff like that. It's really easy to do that. So I don't see the issue. And our screen in the middle is controlled with our left touch button. I don't really know what to call this because it's so tiny. If it's a button or tab, whatever. You can press it. It's a button. Touch button. So much information once again here. It works really well. It's super intuitive. It's fun to use. I really think they have a really good interior in here. Why don't we just take a look at the back seats, then the trunk real briefly, and then we go back to driving. Okay, and in terms of the back, if you're a passenger here in the GLA, even the smallest SUV Mercedes has so much room. I normally sit way further up too. This is almost as far back as it goes, I think. Honestly, so much space everywhere. My feet have plenty of room too. This is really nice, and the materials are the same as in front, so it's not cheaped out on anything. We have our surround sound speakers all the way here. You have USB-Cs 2 down there, and if you want to have cup holders, they're in an interesting spot. You just press these, come out, and then you got these bad boys here, and you have to push them into position. Basically, if this would be a bottle, you just fill it up. But as soon as you take a bottle out, it goes back, and you have to do that. I'm sure it worked well, otherwise it wouldn't be in here, but it's just noteworthy. Anyhow, let's talk real quickly about the trunk, and we'll go back to driving. Hello. The trunk has plenty of space for all sorts of activities and storage. And yeah, you even have some good goodies in here, like grocery bag hangers. Finally, I've been talking about it for so long, we finally have some grocery bag hangers in here. Good job, Mercedes. Also with some nice straps. Personally, not the biggest fans of playing around with the straps on the back, but I know some of you are into that, so there you go. Other than that, I think you'll take a look at the details, and I will take a nap because it's been very exhausting. See ya. Guten Abend. Today we take a look at the details of the 2021 Mercedes-Benz GLA 250. Fine German engineering. Let's get started. On the passenger side of the windscreen, right here, you can find the signature of Gottlieb Daimler, the founder of Daimler. A nice feature of the MBUX system is that it detects which occupant of the vehicle is currently speaking. Let us demonstrate. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
Turn on the heated seats.
switching on the seat heating.
And my heated seat is on. Now it is my turn. Hey, Mercedes,
How can I help?
turn on my heated seat.
I'm switching on the seat heating.
And now the passenger seat is heated. How amazing! If you feel overwhelmed with the feature-rich environment that Mercedes has created in here, don't you worry, the Germans have your back. Just click on Info and you can find your whole operator's manual inside of your vehicle. And even better, if you want to have some specific explanations, there are little animation videos ready for you to watch. Well, that is in theory, they don't work. And back from the interior, we wanted to talk more about MBUX. She already interrupted this video a minute ago, or 2 minutes ago. So she was kind of overeager there a little, but now we can summon her. Hey Mercedes. Now she's a little, no she doesn't want to, she's shy. Hey Mercedes. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
What's the stock price of GameStop?
GameStop closed at $101.74 US yesterday, down 6.43% since Thursday.
Okay. And hey Mercedes, what do you think of BMW?
I don't know what you are talking about.
Normally she says something. Hey Mercedes. Hey Mercedes, what do you think of BMW?
They're nice. I like seeing them through my rear view mirror.
There we go. There we go. Sassy Mercedes. So MBUX, I've already briefly talked about it in the interior segment. It's an amazing infotainment system. It's just really good. Like I said, it's a lot to take in. It takes a while to get used to it, but if you own the car, if you own this GLA or any car equipped with the MBUX, it'll take you no time. Maybe a couple of days, maybe a week or two at max, and then you get used to the system and you're gonna love it. Not only is the like customizability, especially with our gauge cluster, amazing, but the features are just so good and it just works really well all across the board. I really enjoyed my time with this system, and this is so far the best infotainment I've ever used, hands down. Although the voice assist, so I don't know what her name is. I don't know if her name is MBUX or she has a fancy name. Don't expect Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa levels of quality here. What she can do is pretty limited to like a bunch of features. What I most of the time did, because I didn't want to go through the menu, says, hey Mercedes,
How may I help you?
turn on seat kinetics.
Okay, I'm switching on seat kinetics.
Which is a great feature that automatically changes the position of the seat and like parts of the seat all the time for like every couple of minutes to keep you a little more refreshed, which is nice. But she's a little more of a gimmick, I'll be honest. Like a lot of features, she just doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what you're talking about, even if you talk about features of the car, which is a little disappointing. Is it a nice gimmick? Yes. Is it useful for certain things? Definitely. Is it a game changer? Not at all. I don't think so. But still, amazing infotainment system. I love it. And we got a GLB coming in a few weeks. I will certainly enjoy being back in a Mercedes. So anyhow, I don't want to talk too much here. So why don't we just send it over to the final thoughts? Okay, time for the final thoughts on the GLA 250. And there's no denying it's a really, really nice car, and they've done an amazing job, especially on the interior. It's just so nice, and the ambient lighting at night is just wow. But there's also no denying that it's pretty expensive. Like, even if it's really nice, they nickel and dime you for everything, just like all the German manufacturers do, it be it Porsche or BMW or Mercedes. This costs just shy of 52,000, and it doesn't have automatic high beams at $52,000. It's like, it's an option. You can pay for it. Obviously you can, because it's a Mercedes. It's a German car. You can pay for it. But just like some of these things, it's like, but that's what you get into if you buy luxury cars. I really liked it. The powertrain is really good. It handles great. The interior is amazing. No, I loved it. It's just, you just have to decide if you want to spend $51,000 on that, or maybe go for a brand that is not quite as nice, but get a lot more in terms of size or a lot more in terms of sportiness, right? That's a trade-off you might want to have to make here. But if you're interested in a Mercedes, this GLA, despite being the base model with some options on it, was super nice. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, you will like it if you have it. Anyhow, that's it with the review. Thank you so much for watching. As always, reviews come on a pretty much weekly basis right now. We got some cool cars coming right now. So if you liked it, I would greatly appreciate if you could maybe subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any more videos. And yeah, I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you and bye. No.
Wonder what the cops think. There's literally cops right there.
It's definitely white interior, and we got. Why? Stop flying here. Go fly somewhere else in the sky. The sky is big. Damn it.
Nope.